Hello and welcome.
Welcome to Take 2 episode Millennial Moms.
Is raising children in 2019 harder or easier than, say, in 1969? How mothers of different generations are raising their children?
The first true love, the most unconditional love, the love that never changes, the love that's perfect. There are so many ways that a mother's love has been described. But I wonder, what makes a woman in love decide to become a mother one day?
Motherhood. Women who choose to become mothers, what makes them decide to be a mother? Do they think and plan how they will raise their children? And they set goals for their children even before they are born? Do they create big dreams of their own for their children?
What goes through her mind? What does her heart desire? And when she actually becomes a mother, what does she really want for her child? And what's important for her? Is the child's looks, gender, intelligence, success, achievements? What? Which philosophies of motherhood have remained constant and what has changed? What's so different and similar between a baby boomer mom and a millennial mom? Do any of them follow their own mom's philosophies for raising a child? Or a millennial mom's philosophy is a fusion of her upbringing and her more empowered self and a technically informed person? What's working?
And what has worked?
Can it work better?
So let's have a dialogue between these millennial moms
And a baby boomer mom like me.
to see what drives a mother and her vision. So welcome ladies, welcome mothers to our show. So as you heard in the introduction, right, लोगों ने जो बोला, the thought that came to my mind was कि what made you decide to become a mother? Was it like social pressure? Was it like family का pressure? Was it like कि अच्छा सब लोग कर रहे हैं तो मैं भी कर लेती हूँ? So what made you decide? Anyone?
I can go first. I did not have that choice. It was bad protection. But when I did know, and if I was asked if I wanted to have the child or no, I knew it was a yes, because I loved children at that point, and I knew I would not go wrong with it. So for me it was that. But I'm sure you have a better.
So just for clarity's sake, you have one child or
No,
you have two?
I have two. One 8-year-old.
Okay.
That was the unplanned, and then the 3-year-old planned.
Oh, okay. So it took you 5 years to plan, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. So what was your thought?
For me, I was kind of waiting to be ready. Like I felt like I needed to be ready to be a mom, and then 10 years went by, and I wasn't ready until Sunil, my husband, said, "Listen, this doesn't get any better than this." So yeah, that's how we decided.
So totally planned.
Sort of. I was waiting to be ready, but
Okay.
no.
You were pushed into getting ready. Okay.
So how many children do you have?
2. My daughter's 9, and my son is going to be 7 soon.
Great.
I think mine is a mixture of the two.
Uh-oh.
I don't think I was ready. I didn't know if I'll be a good mother. I had all sorts of questions, But I also thought that me and my husband, we felt that we need to bring another person in this world who we can, teach to be. Some good qualities we can give, and that's our contribution. And we knew we wanted a kid in that sense, but I wasn't ready. And then I told my husband, the biological clock is ticking, let's think about it. And it takes a year. All my friends in their 30s, year, 2 year, let's start trying. Guess what? First time. I tricked him. I kind of did.
Okay, great.
That's a good story.
You talk about it. So I have a question.
Yeah.
You said that even before you became a mother, you were thinking about this. It's like a fusion between you and your husband.
Yeah.
Your philosophies or your good qualities or something, and that's how you wanted to bring a child
Yes.
in this world,
Yes.
right?
I don't think that my mom or my grandmom ever thought of bringing a child into this world with that philosophy,
Right.
which is very unique. So any of you other ladies want to talk about that philosophy, did you ever think of a child as, like bringing together two qualities, two people's qualities into one being?
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of tie it back to your previous question and answer this as well. That, once I decided to have a child, I thought through, that I am taking on a responsibility. I'm creating something now. It's my responsibility. I have to take it on like that. Versus, okay, I've had a kid, now let's just go with the flow kind of thing. So I thought through of it that way initially, that I'm going to be a hands-on mother, if there is such a thing. And then after that, for me, my personal philosophy, if you may, was that I felt like nobody knows what it is like to be a parent until they're actually a parent, right? So people figure things out as they go along.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. I'm sure other parents feel that way, by saying to myself that I need to know everything. I need to have all the answers. Or, as a matter of fact, I need to have all the answers for my children when they ask me that question. But then my philosophy has always been that I don't have all the answers, but I will treat this person I brought into the world like a person, and we'll figure it out together. And I think that's worked out really well, because I feel like there isn't a lot of pressure on me, and I don't put a lot of pressure on my children in
Right.
turn.
So yeah.
So yeah, but did that philosophy start playing right when the child was born, and it took you some time to understand that, okay, we have to have like a way of raising this child? Because in my case, I'm a baby boomer mom. So in my case, and I wouldn't say I wasn't as informed, but I didn't have so much technology around me, and it was a different times, 30 years ago things were different. So when my children were born and I had twins, things became so hectic that for the first 6 or 8 months, I did not even know if there is any philosophy behind raising a child. It was just a survival thing that was going on.
Yeah.
So did you girls, or
So-
Manasi, you can talk to this?
No, so mine was similar to yours. Like if you were a baby boomer and I was a millennial mom, it was similar. I never thought much. We never had planned it. So when the baby came, the only instinct I had was to be the mother bear. And I knew from the beginning I'm going to be mother bear, but I'm not going to I'm going to teach them how to fish. I will not fish for him. So I've always tried to raise an independent child, and just how she said, treat them just as a human, not as a baby who you need to have all the answers for, but protect them when you know they're helpless. But there was no philosophy. I've never thought, and I've always just been instinctive, especially from my child 1 to child 2 also. They're so different that I don't have a philosophy. My philosophy is the reaction to my child. So child A needs something a certain way because he's that type. I'll do that. But my child B needs more help in certain things, and I'll just give her that. So it's very instinctive and reactive to the child. And also for me, I was an early mom, so I had no peers who had children. So it was always looking to my mom, how she did it. So I'm like really inspired by older moms, because those are the only people I looked at versus my age. My friends were still partying when I had children.
And it's interesting you say that, right? Because you were asking earlier that our moms raised us differently. But if you truly think about it,
I'm a reflection.
I feel like how they still say that it takes a village to raise a child. I think the definition of the village has changed.
Right.
So
Yes.
if our mothers had their mother-in-laws or their mothers or their buas or their mommies to kind of raise the kids, our community has changed. It's become a lot bigger. Earlier you were talking about the internet. So we still go to certain communities,
Portals,
right?
yeah.
There are certain portals, there are communities that we take advice from. Similarly, like you may have from your mom or your mother-in-law or your bua that you really trusted because she raised her kids well. So I think that definition has changed, but really, truly does take a village.
And I was thinking the village in today's terms is the podcasts and the support groups and Facebook groups, and I kind of agree and disagree with, not disagree, but my approach was slightly different, but I came to the same conclusion as you, because I started off with my sister telling me, read this book, breastfeeding book, read about baby-led weaning, read about Magda Gerber's philosophy about REI, and I had literally read all these books during my pregnancy, and I knew I had a framework. This is what I'm going to do. But honestly, I had no framework, because you don't know when that kid is in your hands. That's when you realize, oh shit, what am I going to do? And every step of the way, you try to incorporate those things and what you learn, and you constantly seek advice, but at some point you give up and you say you gotta follow your instincts, because this is not working.
To your point, like old wives' tales are still true, right? I feel like an old wife now when friends my age come to me like, hey Mansi, I'm having a baby. How did you do it? How did you plan the sleep? And I'm like, you're pregnant. Like, calm down. Maybe calm and you'll know. And that's honestly what my mom must have told me. It's just, I had the baby early, but then they're having it now, the same age people like me, but they don't realize that. I think people should not have a framework. Like, like my mom, like baby-led weaning. I read about it for my second child. At work, someone told me, and I'm like, but this was my mom. Like, she kept food in front of me. That if I didn't eat it, she just walked out and did her other work. She didn't sit and feed me the food, right? So it all, I think it's a big round circle. It all comes back to what our moms did.
But see, my mom,
it's all just
mom would tell me breastfeeding is the easiest thing ever. Why do you have to worry about it? हम तो बच्चों को लेके खाना भी पकाते थे, breastfeed भी करते थे.
You mean to say it's not?
No, it is the most unnatural thing ever, and nobody talks about it. And in that sense, we feel like if you don't read about it and talk about it in the community, we'll still believe it's easy, but it's not.
Right. So from your talks, I feel that the village has become more global. There's more information, but that basic instinct of a motherhood has stayed the same, right? Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Except that now you have WhatsApp group. I know my daughter keeps on telling me that she has a WhatsApp group, and they exchange every piece of information. अच्छा आज बच्चे ने 2 घंटे बाद दूध पिया कि क्या नहीं पिया.
It's overwhelming. Exactly. When I had the baby, for first 2 months, consciously I would give my phone to my husband when he went to work. And I would just stay home all day, because I wanted to use that time, because I know I would just surf and tell people that today poop was yellow, today the poop was black. And it doesn't lead to anything. And luckily my mom told me that just cut off and you'll be fine, just bond with that child. But I literally cut off social media when I had my children, because I'm like, they mess you up completely.
Did you even have time to go on social media?
No, I would, because I would not sleep and I would do social media and then be irritated when the child wakes up. So, like those kind of things.
I was hooked to, while pumping, all I would do was catch up on Netflix and all the I was hooked.
So there are 2 things.
Netflix is fine, it's not social media.
There are 2 things that come into my mind, and I'll ask the second question later, which I posted about today, about raising your children with these screens. So that will be another topic we'll talk in more detail. But the question I have for you all, are there something unique or different that you are doing that you did not expect to do when the child was born, or before the child was born? Something you thought about, say, hey, I want to raise my child. I know, Meetu, you are very strict about certain, not strict, but a style of
opinionated.
Opinionated.
Yes.
That's the right word.
Exactly.
Not letting children watch TV, right? They didn't watch TV for, I don't know, they still don't, except for soccer games or whatever that is. So what are the unique things or different things that you did which you don't find everybody else doing?
So I think once I got to a certain place of where I want to go with being a parent, after that it was easy. To your point earlier, right? Whether it's instinctive or whatever it is that you're trying to do. For me, I thought through of what are the things that I would have wanted. So again, empathizing in some way with the child as to what are the things I would want as a child, and therefore I decided to give that to them. And also a role of a parent, I thought that I need to teach this person I'm bringing into the world what is right, wrong, what should they be doing. But that changed somewhere in the process. I didn't realize when it did, but that definition became that of a guide versus someone who tells somebody what to do. So, making them capable of making their decisions or being independent, deciding on their own what's right and wrong. There are some exceptions to that when it comes to their health and safety, at least at this age. Mom says that goes, but outside of that, and it makes it so much easier. I feel like there's no pressure on me to have all the answers and to decide for them.
And sometimes you also say that, okay, no, maybe you're right, I was wrong. Like, I think that is something I do which my mom would have never done with raising me. And like, that generation, I always, sometimes he tells me, but no, this is not the way. And I'll be like, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe mama said the wrong thing and you're thinking actually right, I'm learning from you. So I constantly, reinstate that if it's truly that. Like so many times I don't know meanings of words. I don't know when he says something, I'm like, thanks for teaching me that.
So you feel that millennial moms, per se, like you girls are,
more empathetic. More empathetic. We empathize more with them.
Empathize more, plus you also understand the true meaning of freedom in child raising, right? So you treat them like a little human being rather than a little child who's like, do this.
And no ego.
Absolutely. Like you were saying earlier, that if mothers have become more empowered, we also understand the meaning of empowering our children. So that's what we're doing. Because it feels so good to us, we're passing that responsibility on to them.
It's funny that during our days, the word empower wasn't discovered. No one knew what empower was.
इंडिया में बच्चों से ऐसे बात करते हैं ना, ओले कैसा है तू छोटा बच्चा, I don't think at least
we don't talk that.
We treat them with respect, just like they are people who understand emotions. We communicate with them as like full human beings.
But I differ on that a little bit. I was like on the cusp of being a baby boomer to a millennial mom. But I also pampered my children like a little baby too for the longest time. For 3-4 years, I was like, oh my baby, and all that.
By the way, you still do that. So go ahead.
I hug them, and now that my kids they're almost 30 years old now. But then they come back and tell me that love also they remember. But at the same time, I gave them that freedom to be themselves. I was never one of those controlling parents to, like, so I learned to, and I was lucky to have my dad actually being that way, where he respected our privacy, where he gave us freedom. So I was one of those lucky ones who were born and raised in very traditional society, but also given the freedom at the same time. So of course I was not as tech savvy or, because there was nothing like that when I was raising my children. They did not have a computer till they turned, I think, 12. They did not have a computer. And now, like, I'm sure, Guneet, that your little baby girl already has a little iPad or something she's playing with. And I saw her working with Alexa one day. But I still feel that little pampering and love is also very important.
No, it is. It's very important.
I'm not saying pampering is not important. That we also pamper, in a lot of ways. But I think it's with the belief that the other person is fully capable of understanding every emotion that we are trying to communicate, and that their development is not like they don't, you don't consider that उनको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, तो उनसे ऐसे बात करते हो. It's just a respect and empathy as.
But you will not give them a chocolate bar at 9 p.m. In any case, right? Or no ice cream.
जब medicine देगा तो दे दूँगी उसके बाद.
I think it's parent to parent also.
I gave them chocolate at 9 o'clock at night.
That's the thing I wanted to ask at some point. I know you guys are trying different things. You are trying to make things a little bit different than the way we did, right? I honestly can tell you, I did not do anything special. I was just raising them like my parents raised me. So how would you know that what you guys are doing is going to reap some benefits? You will see the fruits of that. How will you know that what all this time and all this learning and all these things that you have done had impact? What will be your benchmark? That's what I want to know.
I have this answer set for so much time in my mind, since maybe my son was 3 or 4. I know it. If at the age of 30 or 35, it can be like if his passion is his career, I'm a successful mother.
Oh wow.
And it's always been there in my mind. I wanted to wake up each day and go to work because I think work or whatever you do for a living literally forms the crux of your life. And I don't have many peers who do what they love. Everybody is like, I'm doing this, but I wish I did this.
Yeah.
If my son has his passion is equal to his career, I think I'm successful.
So you mean to say you don't want your kids to become neurosurgeons?
No.
Or astronauts?
Not if they're not happy. Not if they're going
Did you
to
want
work.
your children to become astronauts and neurosurgeons?
I wouldn't mind that, but
Then I meet a chef who comes and talks to me about how much he loves food and how he talks about food and his restaurant, and I'm like, wow, like you truly wake up every morning, or a photographer, wake up every morning with a passion, and that's how you make money. And I think eventually he'll make great money if his passion is his work.
Yeah.
So that's always been my measure of my final parenting step.
So for my most important philosophy in raising children was, I wanted my two boys to be good human beings.
Yeah.
My father always taught me that be a citizen of the world where you can fit in everywhere, where you can be compassionate about things. And I don't know, for me, achievements don't mean anything.
Yeah.
And like when I was asking you, Guneet, that how much of your own philosophy you kind of unknowingly imposed on your children. This is what I imposed on my children. I gave them freedom, I gave them childhood, but I always wanted my children to be a good human beings, because for me, achievements are all skills. The skill sets that you can learn. You can become whatever you want in life, but unless you are a good human being, no matter what profession you are in or what you are doing for a living, you will always be a misfit.
So, Neetu, you were saying something about how would you measure success
For my children.
for your children? All the things that you're doing, you have read all these books, you have technology, everything is available to you, and you're doing very unique things. How would you measure it at the end that it was all worth it?
So I think if they grow up to be individuals who realize that there is more to things than themselves, who are able to see outside of themselves, that they're more aware, and that they have compassion and empathy. I think that's it. That's truly it. I think.
Can I ask you what you do for a living? So maybe that has something to do.
I do
with,
a
how
lot
you
of
think.
different things. Yeah.
Okay.
So for work, I work with individuals with a disability. So I do disability accommodations. When I say that, a lot of people don't know what that is, but just helping individuals with disabilities to be able to work just like any of us do. And then I'm also involved with theater, some writing.
Correcting.
So this is
Some writing.
this is a secret. This is my secret as well, and I'm bringing it up because you are in theater. You like to write and all that. And I always wished, I never expressed this to my kids. I always wished one of my children will be involved in theaters in some capacity.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that didn't work out.
Hello, Manoj. Let's spill the beans here.
So, do you have
because
such
your
aspirations?
niece is already fulfilling your dream. Almost like
I'm
your own
fulfilling
child,
it for
so you should be happy.
True that. So, do you have such aspirations? I know that Guneet, you are also in the same theater and artistic endeavors.
You can't deny that who you are as a person ultimately, to some extent, you pass it on to your kids, even if you don't try, because they grow up watching you.
Exactly.
And if I go for my rehearsals, she knows that mom is doing theater, so I don't have to really try hard to get her. If she is interested, she'll follow it. That's what I believe. And
But would you be disappointed if she doesn't?
not at all.
Okay, good. Great.
I think, and as you guys were talking, I found my answer. Maybe, I didn't know what do I want my kid to be, what is the definition of success. But I really think if if their foundation is strong, if they grow up seeing love, if they grow up seeing a healthy relationship around them, their
Exactly.
parents having good friends, their parents doing great things, and they grow up to be those people, there's no way in hell that they are not going to be successful in life. And the
agree.
definition of success is whatever they make it. I don't prescribe a definition for them. So if they become artists, if they become scientists, I really could care less, but I think they'll be successful people.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted my children to be architects or artists.
Yeah.
And when they saw me when they were younger, I was always painting, I was always doing these theater things, and so maybe they got some of it.
Yeah.
So, but really didn't matter to me.
But your
As
children
long
also
as-
didn't go into theater, right?
No, they did not. But they did have, like one of my sons has a Bhangra team. I look at them, I feel my philosophy has worked to some extent because they're good kids.
Right.
And I may be biased, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and I think to your point earlier, I think typically maybe traditionally we look at it like, okay, kids might do the same things or pick the same profession, but what you were saying earlier I think makes a lot of sense, is that it's not necessarily the profession they pick up, it's the sensibility that they pick up, that
Be the best at what
I,
they
you
can
know,
do.
Gunita and I always talk about it. So we do theater together, and we have a lot of friends who are artists, and musicians, and I always say that our kids are so fortunate because they're growing up around these creative people. So they may not necessarily pick theater or acting, but they will be open and they will be aware individuals who
And their
explore
minds will be
life.
so much more enlightened with all this music.
Or
and-
they'll explore.
creative,
I think
yeah.
they because we don't take much, we don't give ourselves enough credit. We'll just sit there and talk about. We feel like nonsense stuff for hours,
Yeah.
But I think what the children are picking up from that is that life is to be explored,
Mm.
and that's
Also,
a
I think-
beautiful.
It's a beautiful message. to
yeah.
And
them.
also for them to see you doing something that you love will always attract them to things that they love. It doesn't matter if the rest of the
At
world
least
doesn't
to
do
try.
it. Our parents always did what they loved,
Right.
against the odds, and we should do it too, right?
So I know
she's done it. Yeah.
I know, Mansi, you and Meetu, you have kids of different gender, right? Boy and girl. Those stereotypical roles of children, has that changed since you were growing up versus now? Or are you raising them like totally equal, the same, exactly the same? Or genetically you find them? Genetically, I'm saying it because, hey, boy has interest in certain things and girl has interest in some. Are you seeing those differences still when you're raising your children, or are you forcing in some way, saying, no, I want to raise my daughter as my son?
No, so I was fortunate to grow up in a home, and I lived in a joint family with my grandmom, and never in the 22 years that I lived with her has she told me, okay, you're a girl, so it's different for you. So
Nice.
it was just never something, I just saw it in movies and media, and saw news articles about how women, so I was fortunate in that. The only one time she told me is, there was some cousin who was older, and she's like, Mansi, don't wear shorts today because he's an older guy, let's not wear shorts. And probably that's what I'll tell my daughter even now. If there's some older young man in the house, I may not allow her to wear shorts. Maybe it's traditional of me. So I don't think I try anything. It's just individuals. Like what
But
my
this
daughter
has something
likes,
to
she
do with
gets.
like respect or values as Indians that we feel. It has nothing to do with
With girl up, exactly. But I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't tell my brother that they won't wear shorts shorter. But at that time, I totally got her. I'm like, yeah, I'll not wear shorts because it makes sense. Like, where your legs are exposed too much. And I didn't feel bad even then when she told me that, why are you not telling my brother? I was like, yeah, fair, I'll not wear it. So for me, there's never been a difference. So for my children, it's just, if Josh likes pink and my daughter likes blue, then good. Like, never thought about it.
great.
So for me, it's slightly different. I do give that a thought about, and I don't necessarily raise them differently in any way, but it's more about, I'm a little bit more aware. I feel like boys have a lot of pressure on them too, and girls have a lot of pressure. There are certain traditional roles, traditional ways that they are asked to be. And for that reason, I feel like boys have a lot of pressure on them to be a man.
So piggybacking on that, I did not think, since I had only 2 boys and I didn't have a girl, I did not have anything to compare with, like, different gender kids. But I always taught my boys that no matter what you do, because I was coming from this place where women are always oppressed, I always taught them to be so respectful of a girl, especially when they were going through those teenage years in high school, when they are like interacting with girls and who knows what they were doing in schools. So I was always told them that being a man does not come from being strong. So I taught my boys to be respectful of women. That was my philosophy raising them.
So coming to the final thing, now I think we had a great chat. And thank you, by the way, Neetu, Guneet, and Mansi and Chetna for participating in this. Well, I'm not a mother, so. But as a mother, I think that you guys shed light on lots of things, and that's what we wanted to bring it out for other people. So if you have to describe motherhood or your experience in one word, think about it. I'll give you like 2 seconds to think and describe what motherhood means to you now. Well, one word. It does not have to be exactly one word, but like in short 2-3 words things. If you have to explain that or describe that.
And since Mother's Day is coming, it can be a very special
Yes.
meal on motherhood.
Yeah.
So who has already thought of who wants to go first? Okay, Mansi.
I find it hugely challenging but gratifying
Nice.
every single day. I think I have so much more meaning to life because I have my children. However my days are with them, good, bad. Just hugely challenging but gratifying.
Nice.
For me, I think it's a discovery. I feel every day I am learning more about myself and about my child and about my relationship with my husband, because it changes as they are growing older. You are just constantly figuring things out, and it's a discovery, but it's like a treasure hunt. Every clue gets you to the final treasure, which I know it's every day is a treasure, but there's also a hope for something better.
Awesome.
Yes. Nice.
I think combination of what both of them said. It's extremely gratifying, and it's beautiful because I feel so fortunate that I was given the opportunity to receive unconditional love. You know, we often talk about how parents give unconditional love to their children, but oh my gosh, I could have the worst day, or I could be the worst mother, but they walk in through that door and their eyes light up just to see you, and
That's
you
so
could
true.
be wearing whatever you want, have done whatever you want,
Yeah.
no expectations, and just that feeling is just so overwhelming. So I feel fortunate, and you know, and I could do whatever I want, like mess it all up, but they'll still love me. It's a fantastic feeling.
Unconditional.
I wish my daughter would do that. She walks into the room and says, "Dada, I want Dada." So I'm like, I'm waiting for that moment to happen to me.
And Chetna, you are the last, not the least. What is your thought on that?
So all I can say is the most beautiful feeling. I don't attach too much philosophy to it. I think my children are my treasures, and they have given me something that's incomparable. And when they say unconditional love, it is truly unconditional love, and that will always remain for me.
Wonderful. On that note, I want to thank you all. It was a pleasure talking to you all, and I hope people or other mothers or even fathers watching this enjoy this conversation and learn from it.
Thank you so much, Manoj.
Thank
Oh.
you.